say, Lord, I thank you for what you have done.
Lord, I thank you.
I thank you for what you have done.
Hallelujah.
You didn't have to do what you did. I didn't deserve that. But yet you did. I thank you, God, for what you have done.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, God. Tell a neighbor, I thank God for grace. Yes, I thank God. You got to go to somebody who got some wounds. And find somebody, leave your seat, and go to somebody who's been through something so you can tell that person, I thank God for grace.
Thank God for grace.
Keep going, Joanna, till you find the right person who's been through hell and back.
You don't know
I thank God for grace.
I've been through.
Yes, God bless the praise team. Yes, I thank God for grace. You keep going till you find the right person this morning who want to rejoice with you. Somebody who want to celebrate God with you. Keep going till you find the right person. Yeah. Tell them I thank God for grace.
Thank God for grace.
I thank God for grace. He didn't have to do it, but he did. I thank God for grace. They said you wouldn't be here, but you still here and you say that. Thank God for grace that God loved you until you got yourself right. Thank God for grace that he wiped your tears until you got stronger than ever. Lord, I thank you for grace. Lord, thank you for grace this morning, Father. I thank you. I can't say it no other way. I don't know no other way to say it, but Lord, I thank you. I just need to know that anybody come this morning besides me to put work in. I didn't come to have church. I didn't come to sound good. I didn't come to try to look good. I came today to invest. I came to put work in because I know the more I invest, the greater my return. Who's expecting a big return? If you're expecting a big return, then you have to give God a big praise. Somebody say yeah! 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 Somebody say yeah! 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 Somebody say job. If it ain't for your job, it's for your health. If it ain't for your health, it's for your finances. Whatever it is, I'm more than a conqueror. Chapter 5, verse 8. This kind of praise is only embraced by those who've been in war. This kind of praise is only embraced by those who've been in war. Yeah. Tell your neighbor what the devil meant for evil, God turned it around. You ought to turn around on that one. What the devil meant for evil, God turned it around. Yeah, for my good. One more time. What the devil meant for evil, God turned that thing around for my good. Yes. God turned that thing around for my good. When the whole world was against me, 8. If you haven't said amen, he says, be alert and of sober mind. Jesus. No matter what goes on in your life, always be alert and be of what? Sober mind, not tossed to and fro. Your enemy, wait a minute, I thought I was saying that I didn't have no enemies, you have more. Yeah. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a what? Like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So now let me look at this. God wants me to always stay alert, be of sober mind. I found out in this text that I have an enemy. Some of y'all say I have a lot of enemies, more than I can count. Some of y'all say I have some enemies I'm not sure about yet, but I got an idea that that's an enemy too. Some of y'all saying I got some enemies that's close to me that have been hurt me. I got to put enemy on them too. This enemy prowls around roaring like a lion, looking for someone to devour. If you will, that's going to be our base text. And I want you to go over to 1 Samuel chapter 17, starting at verse 3. Yes. We got the foundation. Now we're getting ready to build on something for the next couple of weeks. Look at what it says right here in Samuel. The Philistines occupied one hill, and the Israelites another, with the valley between them. Now watch what it says. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. So the Philistines, they got their champion. Just like the world has their champion. But the world don't know about God's champion. Oh, but they will soon enough. Yeah, Gath came out of the Philistines camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. Jesus, who is this thing? Whew. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and his rod's point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted. Oh, wait a minute. This is what happens when you let an enemy linger too long. This is what happens when you let your enemy linger too long. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy Jesus." That means openly resist. The Philistines say, "This day I openly resist the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites was dismayed and terrified. I want to start this summer series off today with the title of Goliath Must Fall. Somebody got to rejoice better than that one on this one. Goliath must fall. Somebody tell the neighbor, Goliath must fall. Oh, Goliath, whatever your Goliath is, it must fall. I don't know what your Goliath Goliath must fall. Father, we thank you this morning from whom all heaven and earth flow. Thank you for your anointing that only comes from heaven, Lord. We ask that you're already in this place, Lord. We're ready, God, expecting something great today. Lord, we give you our best praise and worship, God. We'll be alert and attentive so that you can feed us so that we might dine off your word. Let it the nutrients from this word, God. Let it strengthen us in the areas that we're weak, Lord. Let it make our hindsight, Lord, kinship, Lord, to our eyes. Oh, we thank you, Father, in your Son, Jesus' name. Bless the man of God who brings the word. Speak through him to these your people. I speak right now against any spirit that tries to come in here unwelcome. Any soothsayer, witch, demonic spirit, you got 30 seconds to leave. In 30 seconds, if you haven't left, we kicking you out. No longer will we be distracted. No longer will we be put down. No longer will we think down. No longer will we look down. Today, Goliath is conquered, God, in our lives. And we thank you this morning. And to you be all the glory. To you be all the honor, God. And to you be all the praise. And if you believe that this morning, put your hands together and encourage yourself by saying, Goliath must fall. Goliath must fall. I want to apologize in advance for my behavior. I want to apologize in advance for my behavior, for I have no idea what's going to come out my mouth. I am totally entrusting God with what he has given me for this summer series. I know I normally deal with relationships and marriage and boyfriend and girlfriend. But he said too many people got too many Goliaths in their life. Until right now, a girlfriend or boyfriend might be detrimental to them both. We need to learn how to overcome our giants. We need to learn how to overcome our fears. It's amazing here how King Saul thought that Goliath was too big to fight. But David thought Goliath was too big to miss. I'm going to let that migrate for a minute. Somebody's still coming down. King Saul thought Goliath was too big to fight. But David thought that Goliath was too big to miss. How can two people see the same thing and come up with a different content? How can one person look at something and say, that's trash, and somebody else look at it and say, no, that's a treasure? How can somebody look at you and say, they're no good, and somebody else come behind them and say, they're anointed? How can that happen? What are the Goliaths in your life? Goliath is a lot of things to a lot of different people. We don't admit it, but we all have them. Doesn't matter how saved you are, you still have Goliaths. And it's not always the simplistic things. My Goliath is reefer. My Goliath is money. Or my Goliath is drinking. No, those are surface Goliaths. I'm talking about these Goliaths that has changed your whole mindset. The ones that have tapped into your spirit and caused change in your behavior. See, I know as long as you ain't drinking, your behavior might be one way. Drinking helps you to become that way. I'm more concerned when something has attached itself to you. Come here, church. And won't let you go and has caused you to start going downhill fast. That's a Goliath that we don't talk about. People talk about drinking and smoking because everybody talks about drinking and smoking. So when you say I'm drinking and smoking, you just in a long line. But some people Goliath is when they watching nasty movies all the time.
Come on, Pastor. Come on, Pastor.
Somebody say, yeah, that's a good Goliath. It's a problem. You won't tell nobody about that Goliath because you fear you might be embarrassed unless you find somebody else that's doing the same thing. You know, we got a lot of the bigger Goliaths are the ones we don't tell. But Goliath brings a lot of things to us. He has held you back. All of us should be farther than where we are. But a Goliath somewhere in your life has stopped you. If it didn't stop you, it slowed you down. It hindered you. You wanted to, Goliaths are a lot of different people because a lot of different things because you wanted to be right. You wanted to have one lady. You wanted to be faithful to one woman. But all your uncles have a variety of side chicks. And you feel like if I don't do what my uncle and them did, they're going to disown me. Now your uncles have become a Goliath. We don't want to talk about those types of Goliath. We want to talk about the ones that everybody has issues with. I'm not making enough money is my Goliath. That's everybody. But the ones that really keep you from your destiny, keep your head up. God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. When we're dealing with Goliath and David, when we really start diving into this, you will see that age ain't nothing but a number. Now, I know we say that a lot when you start trying to drink before you're 21 and you start trying to date somebody a little older. First thing to do to tell a chick, you're too young, baby. Baby, age ain't nothing but a number. Yeah, that's what they say. But this is the same thing right here. Goliath was a lot bigger than David and a lot older than David. But he didn't realize what David's resume looked like. And I know a lot of times in church, God bless you, man to God. I know a lot of times in church, people look at you and talk negative about you, but they don't know your resume. They don't know what you've been through and what you had to fight to get to where you are. Don't start tripping on them too long. They might do something devastating to you. When God starts to really give you hard battles, God is starting to see you in a way that you are a stronger soldier. You look at yourself and say, Lord, why are you doing this to me and not my friend? Your friend don't go to church. Your friend ain't trying to make a difference in the community. Why would he put more on your friend? Your friend has self-destructed. God wants to put something on you because he say, I know what's in you, and you're starting to apply what's in you so I can trust you and give you more. It's just like a kid. When you first start to teach your kid to drive, they don't get under the steering wheel. You talk them through driving while they watch you drive. And you start telling them everything about driving. This is the gas pedal. This is the steering wheel. This is the gear shift. And you go through all this and you come to a complete stop. Well, mama, you don't be coming to a complete stop. You come to a complete stop and you look both ways. You want to teach them. God is looking and say, I have trained you by allowing you to see my son Jesus. Now I'm ready to pour some of this on you. I'm ready to put you into the game. Are you ready to fight some Goliaths? Have you learned to do hard things? That's what separates us in church. A lot of everybody in church, Pastor, everybody in church can sing. Everybody in church, they can shout depending on where you go. They know the songs, they know scripture, but they don't know battle. They know everything in the church. So when they don't know battle, they talk against battle when they see battle. Because they don't understand spiritual warfare except for what they've read or heard. So when they see spiritual warfare, they talk about it. Then it becomes Goliath. Because everybody in the church ain't moving the same way. Come to the same house of God, but not moving in the same direction. Here we have Israel. The Israelites and the Philistines are getting ready to go to war again. Today, here's the thing. We don't read the Bible enough to find out the significance of this battle. They've been fighting all the time. They've been fighting, they ain't been the only people that the children of Israel fought, but they one of the mainstays. In fact, the Bible declares that the one reason the children of Israel, when they left Egypt and to follow Moses, they didn't go straight ahead. They could have got to the promised land a lot easier and a lot quicker. But the reason they didn't go that way was because they would have had to go through the territory of the Philistines, and God knew that they weren't mature enough yet to do battle. Oh, the Philistines. Well, the Philistines, you didn't fight the Philistines. They were like one of them families who grew up in your neighborhood. You had to fight them all. Your mama didn't want you to really fight them kids. The kid hit you, your mama said, come on in the house, baby, let it go. We're going to pray for them. You know, because mama really don't want to mix up with that family. That's how the Philistines were. You know, everybody in that family ashy. They eat things you wouldn't think of. Live in elements you couldn't imagine. You don't want to fight that family. You want to fight a family like you with soft skin. Don't have a high tolerance for pain. We don't want to fight Goliaths. Not realizing that Goliaths are a test to get us to where we want to be, to let us see what we really made of. So God took the children of Israel out of Egypt and took them the scenic route to get to the promised land. But it was in that time that, during that time, God saw a lot in the children of Israel, but their main course for not going straight ahead and getting there quicker was because they weren't ready to fight the Philistines. Philistines didn't care who you were. They'll fight you. So Goliath's been out there for a long time. So some of y'all who've been waiting, taking the scenic route, Goliath will be waiting on you at the next intersection. You cannot get away. What they say, you can run, but you cannot hide. Goliath will find you. Doesn't matter how smart you think, how far you run, he will find you. And you will never be totally fulfilled because you know you're running from something. Let me tell you now, when I was running from student loans, can I keep it 100? I had a good time, but I was never quite, every now and then while I was having a good time, student loans just popped up. Just out of nowhere, just came up in my mind. Oh, where are you? Get away from me. I'm trying to, I want to have a good time. Student loan wouldn't let me. Years went by and I was trying to outrun Sally Mae. Sally Mae, I realized her endurance is a lot longer than mine. She will find you. She was a Goliath to me. And it was only when I made up in my mind that I'm going to have to charge this Goliath head on that I found peace. Didn't want to hear, you don't want to hear the news of how you spent that money when you was in your master's. I'm glad I got 2 or 3 witnesses in there. Some of y'all so stuck up. Your angels don't even want to fool with you. I look back and I say, where did that money go? Sally Mae say, I don't know, but you finna pay it back. Somebody say Goliath. See, that's a Goliath that we don't talk about. You go out with your girlfriends and you go eat that $25 lunch knowing you owe Sally Mae. Somebody say, I'm trying to high cap, I'm trying to splurge, whatever you want to call it, that Goliath going to still be there. And you wait too long, Sally Mae will find you on your job. Because Goliaths have no perspective, place, time, or who in front of. The Bible say right here that Goliath was calling out one man from on the other hill. Or the Israelites were, just one man come down and fight me in the valley of Allah. Just one. And what we don't realize, now here's the irony in this. I'm going to take my time with this. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to try to hold you all day because we'll start back next week. In the valley of Allah, it was a place where agriculture was plentiful. It was a place where everything grew. Great place to farm. Now it's a great place for people to go and die. The significance of the valley of Allah. How could something so nurturing become so detrimental? How could things be going so right? I think there was a song that, how could something so right go so wrong? Yes. How could something that God created to be something to reproduce now become a battlefield of killing? He's calling them out, just like your Goliath calls them out. Just send one man. And the Bible says for 40 days, Goliath. I know you want to get to the end of the story where David had the 5 stones, but it's a lot bigger than David. If it was just David, it would be an ordinary Jesus story. If it was just David, you know it had to be extraordinary to be one of the greatest stories in the Bible. That Goliath wouldn't leave. And I was just thinking how tormented the children of Israel, let alone the chief Saul, who was known to be a great fighter. The higher you go in rank, the greater your Goliath. The bigger your vision, the bigger your Goliath. The more you will to do right, the greater the adversary. What they say, for every level there's a new devil. It's the truth. It's the truth. And that's what caused a lot of us to become stagnated. Because we don't want to fight. How many of you know that God will put you back together in front of the people who broke you? I got a couple of people standing. I'll be standing on that one too, but I'm already standing on that. God will put you right back together in front of the people who broke you. Whatever that Goliath is that's breaking you, God will put you right back together. Right in front of them. Yes. But you got to understand that in this fight with Goliath, you're going to take some hits. You're going to take some punches. You're going to take some blows. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a bad decision every now and again. Let it be aggressive. If I'm going to make a decision, it's going to be aggressive. We're going gold. I'm fighting there. I'm swinging every chance I get at Goliath. You're going to miss him. Yeah, but I'm going to hit him one. Now, that one I hit him going to knock him deep. I'm going to try to knock him out. Because you can't play with Goliaths. You can't dance around with Goliaths. You got to go and knock them jokers on out. Because they've been out there a long time. Think about some of your Goliaths in your life right now. Don't even talk to nobody. It's too shattering. Just think to yourself, some of your Goliaths will be like, how long have I been dealing with this? How long have I been doing? I didn't even ask for this. This voluntarily came and sat in my lap. I don't know how I got this issue right here in my life, but it's here, and now I'm having to fight this thing. I don't even know the name of it. All I know is it's just get on my nerve. Some Goliaths, you can't even name them. Pastor, all you had to do was just that, man, this will get on my last nerve, Goliath. Sick of this Goliath. But we don't know how to fight them. So they linger. And after a while, if they linger long enough, they'll start to infringe. And then your mindset starts to change. Has to, because Saul was on the mountain for 40 days and didn't retaliate. Saul was a great king. He was known as a fighter. He wouldn't send his men because they saw how big this giant was. Goliath was 9 feet tall. Who wants to fight him? And I promise you that most of your Goliaths, if not all of your Goliaths, are bigger than you. I promise your Goliaths. Whether it's a diagnosis from the doctor or something came up that you had no recollection of, or you don't know how this came up, or your kids don't put you in a tough situation, it's a Goliath nevertheless. A Goliath that's looking at you, that wants to fight you for everything you have. It says right here, he says, now whoever wins, we take the other people as our servants, which means they put everything on the line. These ain't no little bets. See, today we have what we call safe bets. See, a safe bet won't really hurt you. You know, I ain't betting you the Falcons gonna lose, bet on me. You know, but I ain't betting on them. I bet $10. That ain't no bet. That's not a bet. A bet is this. When somebody lay on the cross and die for you before you even born and say, I bet my life, Jesus, that when they come out, they will serve me unconditionally. Now that's a bet. When you start laying on the cross and put your life on the line, now I'm betting. What Jesus was saying is Goliath must fall. I can't bet money. I can't bet silver and gold. I'm betting my life. That's when you start really fighting Goliath. When you put everything on the line. A lot of us can't put things on the line because we try to carry everything that we had in the past with us. I wish I didn't have to say that. By the time you get ready to fight, you're so tired. Because you brought your last 2 husbands with you. You coming to the altar, getting ready to get married, and you done brought the last 2 husbands with you. Now I ain't gonna have this out of him, and I'm not gonna have this out of him, and this not gonna happen, and this not gonna happen. And you get to the altar, he's saying I'll do the 3 of y'all. They don't like this today, Coach. We might lose 1 or 2. Somebody on Facebook already. But it's the truth. Goliath. God will put you back together in front of the people who broke you. So all those who talked about you, ridiculed you, lied on you, stole from you, hamstringed you, tried to kill you with their mouth. God said, I'm going to put you together right back in front of them. The promotion they thought they was going to get at work, God's going to give it to you. The house they thought they was going to get, God's going to give it to you. He said they thought you was last, but they forgot I said the last shall be first. They forgot about that. I'm going to put you right back together in front of the same people that got together and tried to break you. Goliath must fall. When you're a child of God, you have no other way but to fight with everything you got. Not some days, but all day, every day. That's why we say champions have no days off, because we are. Goliath must fall. Sometimes you have to move away to get yourself strengthened and prepared to fight Goliath. Just leave that right there next week. The next time Satan reminds you, because this is how he get us. The next time he reminds you of your past, remind Satan of his future. I'm standing up with you, Dorsey. They can't stand. That's my power, Pastor. You trying to talk about my past. Let me talk about your future. You will lose. You've already lost. He's already lost. Already. The problem is with your Goliath is Satan's always trying to remind you of what you used to do, when you used to go to jail, when you used to drink, when you used to be a whore, when you used to go out there and just wild out. That is my past. But let me tell you, Satan, since we having a conversation about when my God's getting ready to send you, let me tell you about the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. My God, I'm trying to teach this to you. I'm trying to teach this thing on. get this. You have more power. You have more fight game. You have more endurance than you think. You are your worst enemy. You don't give yourself no credit. You don't forget everything that God instilled in you. He said, I knew my thoughts concerning you before you were born. He said they were good and not of evil. That right there lets me know that eventually good always overcomes evil. So I don't care how it look when I fight. All I care is that I go in and fight because I'm going to be victorious, because good shall overcome evil. So I don't have to look like Floyd Mayweather. No, I can look like my deer and just close my eyes and swing. And the Spirit of the Lord going to let me start connecting. And the more I start connecting, I'm going to open one eye and say, what did I hear? I stung him dead. I didn't know he bleeds like me. Then you open your eyes and then you start swinging. I just need to start swinging. Tell the neighbor, you just need to start swinging, child. You wasting time. You making too many excuses. You scared of the lights. You want to be big, you want to have a big anointing, but you scared of the night lights. You don't want to fight spiritually in front of people. You want to be saved and keep your enemy and your problems under your pillow. But I got news for you. If you're a child of the Most High God, your pillow ain't big enough to hide your problems. So you might as well bring them on to the church. Tell them I got a ring for us. A ring right at the front of my church. We call this ring an altar. Yeah, and I got a referee too. That's going to make sure don't nobody else jump in it. This referee is called God. We're going to get in the ring. And we're going to wrestle. And we're going to fight to the death. Because I'm tired of Goliath being my GPS system. Goliath has been dictating your life too long. Telling you what you should do, how you should do it, what you can't do. The earth is the Lord's, it ain't yours. You go around here roaring as a lion. You have no teeth. No teeth. How you gonna defeat me when you have no bite? You've seen people who get ready to fight and you know they can't fight because they talk too much. So they try to beat you before y'all never start fighting. They start talking and I tell you what, I'm a such and such. And you see that joker quiet just sitting there, don't got their balance already. I'll be like, I'm betting on this one. That one trying to scare this one. Because that one really don't want to fight. That's what Goliath do. Satan really don't want to fight because he's already lost. He's already lost. We won't get into that today, but next week we're going to talk about that. When you kill a snake, you have to cut the head off. When you kill that Goliath, we're going to talk about that next week. How you have to bury the head, because if not, the head along with the fangs still poisonous. So Satan, his head has been cut off when Jesus went down into hell. But he still has fangs with venom in them. Yeah, and every time he can inflict just a little bit of venom, he's good. Yes, sometimes you think you're being buried. Because dealing with a Goliath will get you tired. It will cause you to become lethargic. It will cause you to become fatigued and weary. What the Bible say, do not grow what? Weary in well-doing. Because when you're doing well, and if you're doing it according to the steps of the Lord, and he's ordering your steps and directing your path, you will become tired. Because sometimes you don't understand why God got you where he at you. You don't understand why God got you doing what you're doing. You don't understand why you're having to forgive all these people who keep cussing you out. I wish I had somebody there. You don't understand why you got to try to still deal with your kid's daddy and he refused to pay child support. Come on, somebody got to get with this. You don't understand. Lord, why? must I continue to be good when everything around me feels so bad? But why is that? Sometimes you think you're being buried and you don't realize you're really being planted. It's all subjective. It's how you look at it. I'm not being buried, I'm being planted. But I understand for me to be planted, as the ground got to be dug up. And as the ground is dug up, I got to be put in a place that's dog Jesus. Because once he planted me, then he got to cover me up. Oh my God. He's preparing me for my Goliath. Yeah, so your situation sometimes causes you to be planted, but you thinking you were buried. God said, no, I'm planting you in good soil. And I'm burying you. I'm planting you and I'm putting this seed in the ground. And I'm going to water this seed for you. But I got to cover you up so the wind it won't come by and blow you away. See, a lot of times when God plants us, if you ain't careful and if he don't put dirt on you, your friends will talk you out of your blessing. You'll let your spouse talk you out your blessing if God didn't put the dirt on you. He didn't put the dirt on you to suffocate you. He put the dirt on you to protect you so that you won't be tossed with every wind of doctrine. So that what everybody's saying about don't call me Jesus, don't say, wait a minute. Just like you saying what you believe, I have the right to say what I believe in. I've been buried and I've been planted in some dirt with some soil over me that God's getting ready to grow me. Don't wipe the dirt off yet. Don't prematurely wipe the dirt off. Tell a neighbor it's necessary. It's necessary. God is not a God of fail. It's necessary. God is using your Goliath in a season to continue to pour dirt on you. What Goliath thinks he's doing to hurt you is really here to help you. He don't realize that the more he do to you, the stronger you become. That the Bible says, when I am weak, then am I made strong. So what he's doing by making you weak, he's really blessing you to show you how strong you can become. But he think that he's burying you. You ain't buried me, you planted me. And when I'm planted, the expectation is that I will rise. So the Bible declared that Jesus was buried. He went into a tomb. Then it say he went where? It didn't say he went to hell. It said he went where? Down into the, come on somebody read the word. He went down into the where? Depths of hell. He went down. He wasn't being buried, he was planted. And anything that's planted shall rise. I don't know about you today, but I'm celebrating my plant because I know that if I'm planted, that means at some point the sun will shine. And all this heat that's coming on me right now that I didn't think I could take another day, I see that it's working out for my good. And in fact, now I'm saying, bring it on, God, because I understand that the thermostat that deters the heat is my faith. And the more I have faith, the more I can curb the heat. So as I have faith, it starts to eliminate some of the heat. And as the more faith I have, the more I come up. Yes, and now I ain't got to worry no more because Goliath must fall. And they say when Jesus was down in hell, he didn't just go down there and pray to come out. What was so significant about Jesus going to hell was what he did when he got there. Everybody, pastor, want to talk about Jesus going to hell. And nobody talks about the significance of what he did when he got there. When he got to hell, he went with purpose. So that lets me know that God don't plant you if he don't put purpose on you. So when God plants you, there's purpose in you. So that purpose got to come back to God because he say, give and it shall be given. Jesus, teach. hell. And as he's down in hell, he has purpose. As soon as he gets to hell, he starts putting the 911 out. I'm looking for death. That's his 911. See, that was a Goliath. Because Satan thought that when Jesus was on the cross, when he died, Satan thought he had the victory. He didn't know that was the next chapter. He didn't know there was a B clause to the text. He didn't know that Jesus was going somewhere else. He thought that was it. Satan's whole thing was gravitating off of taking the breath out of Jesus. He just wanted to take the breath. If he could take the breath out of him, he could take his life. So he thought when he took his life, he thought that he was victorious. Just like somebody think, if they think they can make you shut up, they think they got you. They don't realize they need to be more worried when you shut up. Because when you shut up, now you're ready to start putting them up. Well, you're starting to put them up in prayer, you're starting to put them up in fasting, you're starting to put them up in supplicating yourself and meditating. When you get quiet. That's why they always say, don't mess with the quiet people. Yeah, they're dangerous. Yeah, because the quiet was the one who prayed. Mess with that empty wagon making all the noise. Yeah, Jesus down in hell with purpose. He's calling out the Goliath of the world, which was death. Calling it out. I don't know how big hell is, but hell has to be pretty big. Or death has to be very elusive. Because it took Jesus 3 days to find it. It took Jesus 3 days to find death. 3 days to find death. Just like I know you've been waiting on God. Sometimes it takes God a little longer to deal with your issues. Yeah, I know, Lord, I've been praying. God say, well, just have faith. Walk in this thing now. No, God, you don't forget. I ain't forgot you. My son, it took him 3 days to find death in hell. He went down there in hell and had to go and find death. Death had ran to death, couldn't hide no more. And then what did he do? Now here's my question to all my Bible scholars. Why didn't Jesus just go ahead and do away with death? Why did he just take the sting out of death? Oh, this is getting good. Why was it that he just took the sting? He could have killed death. Would have been no more death. Why did he just take the sting out of death? That's still a Goliath. Most people don't even like to talk about death. And Jesus already took the sting out of it. We have come up with this image in our minds about death. And we forgot the Bible said, rejoice when people die. Mourn when babies are born. But we told a lot of, oh, that baby cute. Oh, that's a pretty baby. Be lying and talking about babies. I ain't never seen people like church people. They go and see the people, pastor, see the baby, and leave the baby shower and can't get out the door. That baby was just like her daddy. Why was it that Jesus didn't take the sting? He just took the sting out of death. Why he didn't just do away with death? Because he knew from sin, all of us had to now die to go before the throne of God. If he stopped us from dying, there'd be no need for judgment. There'd be no need to go before God if it was a perfect world. But we see that there wasn't a perfect world. During this time, he had just what? Peter had just showed his fear of his Goliath. During this same time when he what? Denied Jesus. We all have. Listen, it doesn't make you not saved when you have Goliaths. It makes you a wimp when you don't admit it. Because if you can't confess it, then how you going to face it? One of the things that's wrong in marriages is people don't faith, they don't tell the truth about their Goliath. You got health issues, tell your wife. Quit playing macho, so if something happens to you, at least you know what to do. Or better than that, at least you know what to start praying for. Yeah, you are, I'm fine. She's like, baby, you're limping. I'm good. I'm good. You're fine, baby. No, baby, I see you limping. No, I'm good. Just tell them the truth. This is a Goliath in my life. I don't want to have hip surgery. So your wife can start praying for you. You want to do a business, but you don't want to tell your wife for fear of failure. I wish I want to start a business, but I'm afraid of my Goliath, and I don't want my wife to know that Goliath might beat me. God allowed Goliaths to be here so that we can conquer them. We can conquer these. That's the only reason Goliaths are in your life, so that we can conquer them. David could not have conquered Goliath by himself. When you really start digging and adapting the word, you'll see that it took something greater than David to conquer Goliath. Much greater. But David get all the credit. A young lad who just came out to feed his brothers get all the credit for killing Goliath. But it wasn't David. It was David. It would have been an ordinary story. If it would have been David killed Goliath, his story would have been no better than Joshua's.
All right.
His story. Now watch this here. David conquered the Philistines. But before David conquered a certain part of the Philistines, Eli. Eli conquered a portion of the Philistines. And before Eli, Samson, Jesus, conquered a portion of the Philistines. What raises the question is this: why is David's story so special? And Samson's story or Eli's story is just a story. Why is it that David's story is extraordinary? Because of something that fought with him. Something that was in him. That was fighting for him. Had to be the accuracy from which the way in which David fought was unexplainable. David did some things in his fighting Goliath that lets us know that there was something extraordinary inside of David. Just like there are certain things that God has willed for you to do that are bigger than you are in the flesh. And as you start fighting these giants, then it will be revealed to you the extraordinary things that God has in you. But not to then. The only way the extraordinary will come out of you is when you start doing God's will. I'll close with this. I like how I was talking to my nephew, my son, colleague yesterday. We was talking about how when he went and represented Tuskegee down at the Football Hall of Fame for Media Day, how one of the commentators, one of the news people was asking him, how do you play your position at your size? And colleagues say, I'm used to hearing it now. I'm used to hearing it. People they don't believe, not only am I playing this position, but I started this position. I've been a captain for 3 years at this position, and I'm maintaining a 3.5 at this position.
Yes, sir.
It further helps cite reference my theory with this. Ordinary people will never understand extraordinary people. Average people will never understand supernatural. Yeah. Pseudo-saints will never understand in totality true deliverance. They will never understand it because they'll never put themselves in a place for battle. They'll run behind people. They'll quit. They'll try to lead the church. When God said, your battle is here. And behind your battle is your promise. So you won't get your promise. I don't care where you go until you fight this Goliath. I can't wait for next week. Because next week we're going to really start to dive into the text on Goliath must fall. The last thing that got me, Deacon Dixon, was I knew Eli had fought the Philistines and I knew Samson, what he did against the Philistines. But when I saw Joshua, I love Joshua. Because Joshua has always been a true servant, even under Moses, and a true warrior. Those things made him a great leader. Because his servanthood, when I saw that Joshua had a couple of squabbles with the Philistines and he was victorious in those squabbles, I say, if Joshua can do it, if Samson can do it, if Eli can do it, Joshua had his run-ins with the Philistines after Moses had given him the keys to lead the children of Israel. He didn't ask for it. It was preordained. Your life has been preordained. What you do with your life is predicated off the decisions you make. The decisions you make are predicated off of your heart. Because the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, Jesus, the mouth speaks. So it's what was in his heart. It's what's in your heart that determines your zeal. Your zeal determines your will. The will to conquer. Your will gives you an appetite where I'm starting to smell blood. That's what I like about the lion. Because the lion is not a Goliath in statue. The lion's not he's not a Golgotha. He's not one of those guys. He's not a Goliath in statue. He's a lion at heart. When elephants, who are 8 times, if not more times, 10 times bigger than a lion, they see a lion, the lion see the elephant. The only thing they have in common is how they see each other. From that point on, everything changes. One becomes Goliath, the other one becomes a peon. The lion looks at the lion looks at the elephant and says, ooh, lunch. That big old elephant looks at the lion and says, ooh, eater. It's in the lion's heart. No other animal walk through the jungle like the lion. I can't wait for Lion King to come out Friday. I'm taking my wife. I already told her, baby, we're going to see Lion King. Because of the content in Lion King. Yes. The lion. With the pretty mane, just. And the other animals don't even speak to the lion. They just bow down to the lion. Now somebody said that the tiger can beat the lion. The tiger's bigger than lions. Tigers are bigger than lions. And they can't squabble with the lion. But tigers run alone. They haven't proven to be leaders. the lion will lead. The lion don't always have to come in stature. True Goliaths are measured by the heart. And I don't know where your heart is today. I don't know your stature. But I know that God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all you can ask or think. The reason he does that is because he knows at some point we're going to think we can't beat this giant. But you can. If you put yourself out there in the game, eventually, coach, you will. And when you put yourself in the game, you'll see that God always had better for you, coach. If you would have never put yourself back in the game and just allowed your past to be your present, you would have never been fulfilled. And you would never have the joy that you have now. You wouldn't have known that life could be so grand and what it's like for a woman to appreciate who I am and truly invest right back in Jesus. That's what happens when you face your Goliaths. And say, I'm moving on. And as I move on, I'm moving up. And I know that my God's going to give me better because I ain't scared of no giant. As you stand. You enjoyed the message. Give the Lord a hand. As the ministers come this morning, there may be someone who needs prayer. Come quickly. There's a Goliath in your life. Come quickly. Let us pray for it.